The early December sky hung low over Chicago, a heavy sheet of iron gray pressing against the tops of the brick townhouses. The air smelled like the first snow was only minutes away. Inside her warm apartment on the fourth floor, Maya Lawrence stood by the living room window, arms crossed, watching her own faint reflection shimmer against the darkening skyline. 31 years old, skin smooth and deep like polished mahogany, long natural curls twisted into a loose bun at the nape of her neck. She looked elegant, but beneath her calm exterior, a restless worry gnawed at her. 5 years of marriage, 5 years of believing she and her husband were building a future together. Yet lately, nothing felt certain. Maya touched the slim gold band on her finger, the ring that used to make her smile just by glancing at it. Tonight it felt heavier than ever. She pressed her lips together, breathed in through her nose, and tried to steady the unease creeping up her spine. She should have been happy today. Her boutique interior styling firm had just completed a luxury renovation for a retired NBA player, and her boss had hinted, again, that a promotion might be coming. Maya had worked for years for a moment like this, but the joy wouldn't settle. Not when things at home felt like a slowly fraying thread. Her husband, Carter, had been coming home later and later, offering half-truths and vague explanations about last-minute campaigns, client emergencies, or data meetings. Carter, tall, sharp-featured, a charismatic marketing director at a major fintech company, had always been a workaholic. It was one of the things they used to tease each other about, but lately, he wasn't just working late. He was somewhere else. With someone else? The thought made her chest ache. Trying to distract herself, Maya walked over to the kitchen island where her neatly written grocery list lay waiting. Tonight was their December tradition, a private anniversary dinner they created years ago on their second date, after bumping into each other in a store buying holiday decorations. They had laughed so hard they cried, two strangers holding matching boxes of Christmas lights. She smiled faintly at the memory. 2 hours until dinner. On the counter sat the ingredients she had prepared: fresh rosemary sprigs, lemon zest, roasted garlic, her signature honey-glazed carrots, and the bottle of wine they had been saving for a special night. She had already bought Carter's gift, a rare signed edition of his favorite 90s self-made millionaire memoir. He had mentioned it a handful of times over the years, always wistfully. The book was wrapped in silver paper and hidden behind her winter scarves, a place she knew he'd never look. Her phone buzzed, a text from her best friend. "Don't forget we have that vendor meeting tomorrow, and good luck tonight, sis." Maya typed a quick reply, then looked around her quiet apartment. Too quiet. Almost lonely. Carter came home, ate silently, scrolled his phone, disappeared into the shower, and fell asleep facing the wall. Once upon a time he used to pull her close, whisper about the future, talk about baby names. Now he barely noticed her presence. Shaking her head, she grabbed her denim jacket. She needed to find the tapered candles for the dinner table. They were somewhere in the storage unit in the building's garage. The garage was cold enough to make her breath fog. Rows of labeled plastic bins lined the wall. Carter's idea. He liked everything neat, predictable, controlled. Maya scanned the shelves until she spotted the box labeled holiday decor tucked behind some summer equipment. She dragged a small ladder over, climbed up, and reached for it. As she lifted the box, her elbow knocked into Carter's large red tool case. It rattled. Strange. He never left tools loose. He was obsessive about organization. Curious, Maya unlatched the metal lid. Inside, nestled between wrenches and screwdrivers, was something that didn't belong in a toolbox at all, a small, midnight blue velvet jewelry box. Her stomach fluttered. Her anniversary gift? Hands trembling slightly, she lifted the box. It felt expensive, heavy, definitely not cheap costume jewelry. Her breath caught. Could he have been planning something special? Had she misjudged him? She clicked open the lid, and the garage light caught on a stunning white gold necklace featuring a teardrop sapphire surrounded by diamonds. Deep blue fire glinted from the center stone, refracting like magic. "Oh my God," she whispered. It was beautiful, elegant, exactly her taste. Her eyes stung as relief washed over her. Maybe she had been wrong. Maybe the distance wasn't betrayal, just stress. Maybe he really did still love her the way he used to. She remembered passing a similar necklace in a luxury jewelry store months ago, admiring it, but dismissing it as too extravagant. Had he actually noticed? Her heart softened. Maybe tonight would fix everything. She closed the box gently, placing it exactly where she found it, careful not to leave a trace. Then she retrieved the candles, hurried back upstairs, and turned on her R&B playlist. Suddenly, the apartment felt warm again, hopeful again. She danced around the kitchen while seasoning the chicken, humming as the oven preheated. Everything was perfect: the table, the wine, the music. At exactly 7 p.m., the phone rang. She wiped her hands and answered. "Hey, babe," Carter said. His voice sounded tired and guilty. Her smile faltered. "Don't be mad," he continued. "I'm stuck at the office again. Year-end numbers. The VP wants us pulling an all-nighter." Her heart sank. "Oh," she said quietly, "but our dinner?" I know," he cut in. "I'm sorry, it's chaos here. We'll celebrate another day, okay?" She forced a smile he couldn't see. "Of course, Carter. Do what you need to do." "Love you," he added. "You too," she whispered. But when she hung up and looked at the beautifully set table, her hope cracked. She blew out the candles, packed away the untouched dinner, and spent the rest of the night alone on the sofa, drifting off with a book in her hand and a hollow ache in her chest. The sapphire necklace had eased her fears. But only temporarily. Morning brought the truth crawling back again. The note he left on the table. "Didn't want to wake you. Heading to work. Have a good day." No warmth, no heart, just distance. A cold, creeping distance. Maya stood there, holding the note between her fingers, unaware that the sapphire necklace she found the night before was about to become the key to unraveling everything she thought she knew about her husband, and about her marriage. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same. Snow dusted lightly over the city the next morning, turning Chicago's streets into a pale silver map. Maya drove through it distractedly, her mind replaying the night before in loops that wouldn't settle. The necklace had given her hope, but the cold note on the table, that familiar loneliness in their home, the nights he came home smelling like strange perfume, her intuition tugged at her like a warning she didn't want to hear. She brushed it aside, arriving at work with her usual polished grace. The boutique design firm buzzed with activity, clients coming in and out, meetings being postponed, winter projects piling up. Maya forced herself to focus. By late afternoon, she and her colleague Talia, a bright-eyed intern with braids down her back, were sipping mint tea in the office kitchenette. "You're quiet today," Talia observed. "Something on your mind?" Maya smiled weakly. "Just tired, end-of-year rush." Talia shook her head knowingly. "Girl, tell me about it. My boyfriend worked all weekend. His boss is crazy." Maya's breath caught. Crazy boss. Late nights. Familiar excuses. She swallowed. Her thoughts drifted back to Carter's distant behavior, to the cold dinners, to the avoidance. "Are you doing anything special for the holidays?" Another coworker, Nia, chimed in. Maya hesitated. Normally, she and Carter planned everything together, decorating, traveling, visiting her mom. But this year? "We haven't decided yet," Maya managed. "His schedule is unpredictable." Both coworkers nodded sympathetically before the conversation shifted, yet the knot in Maya's chest only tightened. The apartment felt bigger than usual when she got home that night. Too quiet, too empty, too hollow. Like a hotel room someone checked out of a long time ago. She hung her coat and walked to the kitchen. Yesterday's dinner, a celebration that never happened, sat in neatly stacked containers inside the fridge. She didn't feel like eating. Instead, she poured a glass of wine and sat near the window, watching the city lights blink through the swirling snow. Her thoughts spiraled. Why is he so cold? Why does he rush to the shower every night? Why does he hide his phone? Why? The distance. Her mother's voice echoed in her head, soft, cautious, protective. Baby, if something feels off, trust your intuition. It's never wrong. Maya closed her eyes. Was she imagining things? Was she repeating her mother's fears? Or was she finally seeing the truth? She was still wrestling with the questions when the front door opened. Carter walked in, shirt rumpled, tie half undone, hair slightly messy. And beneath his cologne, she caught a faint, sweet smell. Not hers, not anything she used. Something younger, something floral, almost candy-like. Her stomach dropped. "Hey," he muttered, already heading to the bedroom. "I'm jumping in the shower." The bathroom door closed and the water turned on immediately. Maya stood frozen in the living room. Her intuition was no longer whispering, it was screaming. And then she looked at his phone. On the hallway shelf. Screen lighting up. Again and again. What kind of VP emergency messages came at 10 p.m.? Her heart raced. Her morals tugged at her. Checking your husband's phone was a boundary you didn't cross unless something inside you was shattering, and right now something was. Very quietly she picked up the device. She knew his passcode. It was his sister's birthday, always had been. The screen unlocked. A flood of notifications filled the screen. Work emails, group chats, and one message thread from a contact saved as L. Her pulse skipped. The last text. "Can't wait for tomorrow, baby. I want your hands on me again." Lyric Maya's breath caught so sharply she nearly dropped the phone. "No," she whispered, trembling. She scrolled. 3 days earlier. "You were incredible today. I still have chills." Lyric Carter had replied, "You drive me crazy. Never met a woman like you." The room tilted. She kept scrolling, her hands shaking violently now. And then she saw it. Lyric. "Are you really giving me that sapphire necklace for our 6-month anniversary?" Carter. "Of course. I already picked it up. You'll love it. Our little secret." The sapphire necklace, the one Maya found, the one she thought was for her. She gasped, covering her mouth as tears blurred her vision. And then the final blow. Carter. "For the wife's anniversary, I'll grab something cheap. She won't notice. She's been letting herself go anyway." Cheap. Letting herself go. Her chest tightened like something inside her cracked open. The shower turned off. She closed the chat, placed the phone exactly where it was, and walked to the kitchen, forcing her breath to steady. By the time Carter walked past her in a towel, she was sitting with a book open, pretending to read. "What's for dinner?" he asked casually. "I didn't cook," she replied, voice calm. "Figured you'd eat at work?" "Yeah, I grabbed something, going to bed, big day tomorrow." He disappeared into the bedroom, and Maya finally let out the breath she'd been holding. Her world had fallen apart, and yet she didn't scream. She didn't confront him. She didn't crumble. Not tonight. Instead, a cold clarity settled inside her. Her mother's words echoed again. "If a man betrays you once, he will betray you again." Maya stood slowly, walked into the guest room, and closed the door behind her. She broke down silently, not because she wanted him back, not because she was weak, but because something precious had died. And when the tears finally stopped, she sat up in bed, and a new thought flickered in the dark. There had to be another way, a better way, a smarter way. Her gaze sharpened, not revenge driven by rage, revenge driven by strategy. She whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, I start planning." And with that, Maya picked up her phone and typed a message to her best friend. "Need to meet tomorrow morning. It's about Carter. Very important." Everything was about to change. The next morning arrived with a cold, bitter wind sweeping between the buildings, rattling street signs and shaking loose snow from the trees. Maya barely slept. Her body felt heavy, but her mind, razor sharp. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't see a broken woman. She saw someone waking up from a long, painful dream. someone who deserved better, someone who would reclaim her dignity in her own way. After dressing carefully in a cream sweater and charcoal trousers, she grabbed her purse and headed out. The streets were already bustling, holiday decorations twinkling from window displays. Shoppers hurried by with oversized bags, oblivious to the storm unraveling inside her. Her destination? Juno's Jewelers, where her closest friend, Amina, worked as a senior appraiser. Amina was waiting in the corner booth of the coffee shop across the street, already watching the door. When she saw Maya approach, her expression softened into worry. "Maya, what happened? You look like you haven't slept at all." Maya sat down, exhaled shakily. "Carter is cheating on me, Amina." The words should have broken her. Instead, they came out firm, steady, like a truth she had already accepted. Amina froze, then leaned forward. "What? Are you sure? How do you know?" Maya unlocked her phone and slid it across the table. The messages were enough to tell the whole story. The affair, the necklace, the lies, the insults. Amina covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh my God, Maya." Maya swallowed thickly. "It gets worse. That sapphire necklace I found, it wasn't for me. He bought it for her, for their 6-month anniversary." Amina's eyes widened. "That necklace? Maya, that piece was at least $15,000. Maya felt physically ill hearing the number. $15,000 on another woman, bought with their savings, the money she had carefully set aside for a future she thought they were building together. Her fingers curled around her coffee cup. "I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to beg. I'm not doing any of that dramatic nonsense. Carter wants to live a lie? Fine, but he's going to learn what it feels like to underestimate me." A slow, dangerous smile formed on Amina's face. "I know that look," she whispered. "What's your plan?" Maya took a deep breath. "I want you to help me create a replica of the necklace, something identical, something even experts can barely tell apart without magnification. Then I'm going to swap them." Amina blinked. "You want to give the mistress a fake?" "Exactly." "And keep the original?" "Yes." Amina looked around, then leaned closer with a conspiratorial grin. "Maya, you're evil, and I absolutely love it." Amina's boss, Mr. Hollis, was the best jeweler in the entire region, and more importantly, he adored Amina. They walked into the shop together. The bell above the door jingled softly, and warm golden light filled the space, reflecting off glass display cases. Mr. Hollis, a tall man in his 60s with silver hair and round glasses, looked up. "Morning, ladies. What brings you in?" Amina gave him a look, one that said, "This is serious. Maya needs a custom piece replicated, fast, and confidential." Mr. Hollis narrowed his eyes thoughtfully. "Let me see the original." Maya hesitated only a second before opening her purse and handing over the velvet box. When Mr. Hollis opened it, the sapphires seemed to set the room ablaze. He whistled low. "Whoever bought this did not come to play." "It was a gift," Maya said, forcing calm, "but not for who he claimed." Mr. Hollis nodded slowly, sympathy flickering across his face. "Say no more. You want a copy, identical?" "Yes." He took out his jeweler's loupe, examining each stone, each prong, each curve of white gold, carefully, methodically. Then he straightened. "I can do it. 2 days." Amina glanced at him. "You sure, boss? That's tight." "For betrayal," he said simply. "I'll make time." Maya exhaled in relief she didn't realize she was holding. "How much?" "For you?" Mr. Hollis waved a hand. 600, and consider the extra labor, a personal donation to the cause." Maya smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you," she whispered. Mr. Hollis nodded sagely. "Men who think their wives are fools tend to learn the truth the hard way." Amina smirked. "Hallelujah." 2 days later, the replica was finished. When Mr. Hollis placed both necklaces side by side, Maya couldn't tell the difference, not even when holding them inches from her face. "Perfect," she breathed. "Be careful," Mr. Hollis warned. If the mistress tries to resell it or appraise it, she'll know it's fake. But until then, no one will suspect a thing. Maya wrapped the fake necklace in a cleaning cloth and tucked it into her bag. Then she drove home, adrenaline buzzing beneath her skin. Carter wasn't home, of course. Perfect. She went to the storage closet where the toolbox sat, opened the lid, placed the fake inside, closed it again. The switch was complete. Her hands trembled, but not from fear, from power. For once, she held the upper hand, and she wasn't giving it back. That night, Carter stumbled home smelling of whiskey and something floral, something young. "Maya, I'm exhausted," he said with a sigh, rubbing his forehead. "Long day, going to shower." "Your phone is dead," Maya replied sweetly. "Want me to charge it?" He barely glanced up. "Yeah, sure, thanks." She plugged it in, waited for him to disappear into the bathroom, and quickly installed a hidden location tracker, syncing it to her own phone. Now she would know exactly where he sneaked off to, not because she wanted him back, but because she wanted to watch his downfall when the truth surfaced. And it would surface, sooner than he ever expected. Maya unplugged the phone just as the shower turned off. When Carter came out, she flashed him a practiced smile. "There you go." He took it without suspicion. "Thanks, babe." Maya nodded, her expression soft and unreadable. But inside, her heart had transformed into steel. Carter's lies had dug his grave. Her plan would bury him in it. And when she finally climbed into bed that night, in the guest room again, she whispered into the darkness, "You chose the wrong woman to underestimate." December 17th arrived with a cruel, crystalline cold. The sky was a perfect, icy blue, the kind of winter day that looked beautiful but cut deep with its sharp wind. It should have been just another Tuesday, but for Maya, it was the day everything shifted. It was the day she would watch her husband reveal who he truly was. She woke early and checked the tracker on her phone. Carter's dot hadn't moved between midnight and 6 a.m. Typical. He'd passed out instantly, avoiding any conversation. She packed a small bag, a pair of discreet opera glasses, her thermos of hot chai, a notebook, a fully charged phone. Then she dressed in dark, simple clothing, a long black wool coat, hair tucked under a beret, large sunglasses hiding half her face, not because she was afraid to be seen, but because she wanted the privilege of watching unseen. She checked the tracker again. Carter was still at home. He left at 8:32 a.m. The moment his car turned the corner, she grabbed her keys and followed from a distance, never close enough to notice, always far enough to observe. The place was called Marisol, a high-end French fusion restaurant with enormous windows and glowing chandeliers that spilled warm light into the frosted street. Maya arrived early and parked across from the entrance, settling in. At 6:47 p.m., Carter arrived, punctual, shaved, cologne, wearing the charcoal coat she bought him last Christmas. He stood outside for a moment, adjusting his tie in the reflection of the window. A perfect gentleman, except not for his wife. Inside, Maya used her opera glasses, heart steady as steel. He spoke to the host, smiled, nodded. He was glowing. She had forgotten he could even look that happy. At 7:10, she arrived. The mistress. Lyric. Tall, light-skinned, body poured into a tight emerald green dress with a slit up the thigh. Confidence rolled off her like cheap perfume. She walked like a woman who believed she had won something. Maya almost laughed. Lyric greeted Carter with a soft kiss on the cheek. Too familiar, too comfortable. Her hand landed on his chest as though she owned him. Maya's fingers tightened around the opera glasses. They were seated at a perfectly positioned table next to the enormous window, an unwitting gift to Maya, who watched everything clearly. Champagne arrived. They toasted. They flirted. Lyric reached for his hand. He leaned in closer than he had leaned toward Maya in months. Every second added another brick to the wall between the person Maya had been and the person she was becoming. Dessert arrived. Chocolate soufflé, 2 forks. Carter straightened his posture. This was it. Maya's breath didn't even hitch. He reached into his blazer, pulled out the midnight blue velvet box. The fake necklace shimmered under the chandelier's warm glow. Lyric gasped so loudly Maya saw her mouth open wide from across the street. She clasped both hands over her chest as if in a movie scene. Maya zoomed the glasses in closer. Lyric was trembling with excitement. Carter opened the box for her. Lyric let out a squeal. A high-pitched squeal Maya imagined piercing the entire restaurant. She lunged over the table, hugging him hard enough to knock over a champagne flute. The waiter flinched, then hurried away to fetch towels. Maya calmly took several photos on her phone, Lyric opening the box, Carter placing the fake sapphire around her neck, Lyric posing with it proudly, their almost kiss across the table, Carter's hand sliding over hers. Every picture was a weapon, every smile was a confession, every sparkle of that fake sapphire was karma already doing its work. Lyric kept touching the necklace like it was the crown jewel of her life. Enjoy it while it lasts, Maya thought. The couple stayed until the restaurant closed at 10:30 p.m. Carter walked Lyric to her rideshare. They stood close together under the street lamp, breath visible in the cold air. He kissed her long, slow, deep. A kiss Maya hadn't received in months. She recorded the entire moment, not out of pain, not jealousy, but documentation, proof, leverage, closure. Lyric finally stepped into the car, blowing him a kiss through the window. When Carter turned and walked to his own car, Maya didn't follow. She didn't need to. His lies had already led him exactly where she needed him to be. December 19th, their 5th wedding anniversary. Carter walked into the apartment earlier than usual, holding a bouquet of roses, a small box of chocolates, and a colorful gift bag from a chain bath and body store. "Maya," he said warmly, kissing her cheek. "Happy anniversary, baby." She pretended to blush, pretended to melt a little, pretended to be unaware. "You remembered," she said sweetly. "Of course I did." He grinned. 5 years. That's huge." "You're right," she said. He handed her the bag. Inside was a cheap perfume and lotion set with a "buy 2 get 1 free" sticker half ripped off. Exactly what he promised Lyric. Exactly what he thought Maya wouldn't notice. She held it up like it was thoughtful, a performance worthy of an award. "Oh wow, thank you," she said. "So practical. The lady at the counter said it's popular this season." Maya hummed. Her smile didn't even crack. They ate dinner together. He talked about work. He avoided eye contact when she casually mentioned trust. The wine loosened him enough that he even said, "I love you." She said it back, because she was about to leave him with nothing but the consequences of his lies. On December 23rd, the storm arrived. The front door slammed so violently, the frames on the walls rattled. "Maya!" Carter shouted. "This is unbelievable! I've been scammed!" Maya looked up from her laptop, expression serene. "What happened?" He paced the room, running his hands through his hair. "I bought something expensive, really expensive, and it turned out to be fake." Maya raised an eyebrow. "A fake? Are you sure?" "Yes," he snapped. "The jeweler said the stones were worthless, do you understand? Worthless." Her voice stayed calm. "I'm so sorry, Carter, but why were you buying something so expensive without telling me?" He froze. She watched the truth hit him like a slap. It was for a business thing." "Strange," she said, her tone icy. "It looked more like a necklace." He went silent. Maya closed her laptop and stood. Her eyes were calm, her breathing steady, her power unmistakable now. "Carter," she said softly, "do you want to tell me who Lyric is? Or should I show you the photos?" Carter flinched so hard his knees buckled. How did you—" Maya stepped closer. "I saw everything." His entire face drained of color, and for the first time, he realized the woman he betrayed was no fool. For a long moment, the apartment was utterly silent. Only the hum of the heater filled the space while Carter stood frozen, staring at Maya as if he'd never met her before. How did you know?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Maya didn't look away. She didn't blink. She wasn't the trembling woman who once cried in the guest room. She was the woman who had finally opened her eyes. "I found the necklace," she said evenly. "The original. And then I read the messages. Every single message. And the photos." She tapped her phone screen. The screen lit up with an image of Carter helping Lyric fasten the fake sapphire around her neck at Marisol. Carter's eyes widened. He stumbled backward as if physically struck. You followed me?" he stammered. Maya folded her arms. "I documented you. There's a difference." Carter sank into the armchair, his face a mixture of shame, fear, and disbelief. "Maya, it wasn't serious," he tried, words pathetic and slippery, words of a man scrambling for control. She lifted a brow. "You bought her a $15,000 necklace. You must think not serious and marital funds theft are synonyms." He flinched again. "And the cheap perfume you gave me?" she asked softly. "The one you told her I wouldn't notice? Or the part where you told her I'd let myself go?" Carter buried his head in his hands. "Maya, please. That wasn't... I didn't mean..." "Stop!" Her voice wasn't loud, but it was final. Carter looked up, eyes desperate. "Just listen," he begged. "We can fix this. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut things off with Lyric right now. We've been married 5 years. Are you really going to throw that away?" Maya stepped closer, her presence cold and unmovable. "I'm not throwing anything away," she said. "You did. The moment you chose her." Carter reached for her hand. She stepped back. "Don't," she said sharply. "You don't get to touch me." He stared at her like he didn't know who she was anymore, because the woman standing before him wasn't the one he had taken for granted. Maya walked to the hallway closet and pulled out a small wooden jewelry box. Old, worn, filled with tangled costume earrings. Hidden inside was the original sapphire necklace. She opened the lid and showed it to him. His breath caught. You kept the original?" he whispered. "Yes," she replied, "and you gave her a fake. She must have found out by now." Carter's nostrils flared, humiliation painting his face red. "She took it to get appraised," Maya continued, icy, precise. "They told her the stones were worthless, colored glass, cheap metal. She dumped you the moment she realized the king she thought she was dating was actually a fool." Carter's jaw clenched. "She said she didn't want to be with someone who couldn't afford her lifestyle," Maya added, voice dripping with sadistic softness. "You should have seen her face when she stormed out of the restaurant." Carter looked like a man drowning. You planned this," he said hoarsely. Maya tilted her head. "No, you planned this. I simply let you walk into the trap you built for yourself." He stood abruptly. "Maya, stop, please. You can't do this. You can't take all of this from me." She smiled faintly. "I already have." She reached into her purse and pulled out a folder. Inside, copies of bank statements, photos, screenshots, and a prepared settlement draft from her attorney. She placed them on the table like cards in a poker game she knew she had already won. Carter's mouth fell open. You went to a lawyer?" 3 days ago, Maya said calmly. "I've been sleeping in the guest room since. You never noticed." Carter sank back into the armchair, shrinking. "Look, we can talk this through," he pleaded. "Let's be rational. You're being emotional." Maya laughed softly, a sound that cut like glass. "Emotional? Baby, if I were emotional, your clothes would be on fire on the balcony. What I am..." She leaned closer. "Is done." His face twisted with helpless fury. "What are you asking for?" He sounded exhausted. Maya sat down, crossing her legs. "My lawyer recommends a 60-40 split. I take 60. You keep 40. I keep the necklace as compensation for emotional damages. No alimony, no court battle. Clean break." Carter's eyes widened as he realized what she'd done. You built an entire case behind my back." Maya shrugged. "You built an affair behind mine. Fair trade." He stood, pacing wildly. "Maya, please. You're blowing up our life." "No," she cut in sharply. You blew up our life. I'm simply building a new one." 2 days later, Maya sat in the living room of Mrs. Hale, Carter's mother, a woman she had admired, a woman she had respected. Mrs. Hale pushed a plate of cookies toward her. "Maya, baby, you can't be serious about leaving him. Every man makes mistakes. Marriage is about forgiveness." Maya stirred her tea slowly. "Respectfully, Miss Hale, cheating isn't a mistake. Buying another woman a $15,000 necklace isn't a mistake. Telling her I've let myself go isn't a mistake." The older woman winced. "Lord, Carter said you were being dramatic." Maya smiled thinly. "I have photos, messages, receipts, and a legally documented record of the financial theft. If I were being dramatic, I'd have aired those online." Mrs. Hale sat back, stunned. "Maya, you're not the girl I thought you were." "I'm stronger," Maya corrected, "and I'm done." The older woman dabbed tears from her eyes. "Carter is beside himself. He said he'll sign anything, give you anything. Just don't leave." Maya stood. He should have thought about that before choosing her. Her lawyer, Camille Rhodes, was sharp, polished, and intimidating in her navy suit and high braided bun. She reviewed the evidence. "This is an excellent case," Camille said approvingly. "Clean, documented, undeniable. You'll walk away with everything you want." Maya exhaled slowly. "I just want what's fair. And my dignity. And you'll get both." Camille closed the folder. "What do you want after this? A fresh start?" For the first time in weeks, Maya smiled genuinely. "I want to open my own design studio. I've saved enough. And honestly, I'm ready." Camille nodded. "I admire you, Maya. Most women sit and suffer. You strategized." Maya laughed softly. "I guess heartbreak makes good architects." By the time she left the attorney's office, a strange lightness hovered around her. The snow felt softer, the wind less biting. She wasn't escaping, she was evolving. 2 months later, with the divorce finalized, Maya stood inside her new office, a renovated storefront with exposed brick walls and warm pendant lights. Her sign gleamed above the door. Lawrence Interiors, her own name, her own business, her own future. Clients came fast, thanks to Camille's referrals, Amina's contacts, and Maya's undeniable talent. Her first project completed, the studio prepared for the grand opening. Her mother, who flew in from Atlanta, hugged her tightly. "You did what I couldn't," she whispered. "You chose yourself." Maya blinked back tears. "For the first time, I feel like me again." And she did. Standing there in her slate blue power suit, curls bouncing down her back, she looked like a woman reborn. The grand opening of Lawrence Interiors arrived with spring sunlight flooding the renovated warehouse district. The air smelled fresh, clean, new. Like a beginning Maya had waited her whole life for, her studio glowed, warm brick walls, elegant brass fixtures, dark green velvet chairs, and the unmistakable subtle luxury of a woman with taste. Guests began arriving, clients, industry professionals, designers, friends, and Maya's mother, Ruth, stood proudly beside her, her smile wide enough to light the entire room. "You did this, baby," Ruth whispered, squeezing Maya's hand. "After everything, you stood back up." Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. She scanned the bustling room. Everyone was here to see her work. No one knew that just months ago she'd been crying alone on a cold guest room mattress. Her pain had become her blueprint, her healing, her masterpiece. Near the refreshments table, a tall man with warm brown skin and sharp, kind eyes watched her with interest. He wasn't trying to approach yet, just observing, appreciating the room, appreciating her. Langston Bell, founder of Bell and Form Architects. Known in the city, respected, intimidating to some. But to Maya, he seemed steady. Finally, he stepped forward. "Your work," he said, his deep voice smooth and calm, "is extraordinary. Truly. The blend of natural textures and modern lines. This is someone who knows exactly who she is." Maya felt her breath catch. Compliments were normal, praise was expected. But this felt like someone seeing her. She extended her hand. "Maya Lawrence." He took it gently. "Langston Bell, and I would love to discuss a collaboration if you're open to it." "Collaboration?" she asked, surprised. He nodded. "I'm bidding on the Riverfront Park renovation. I need an interior designer for the administrative buildings. Your style is exactly what the project needs." Her heart fluttered, from excitement, not romance. Yet something warm flickered there too. "I'd love that," she said. "We can talk details next week?" Langston smiled, slow and confident. "I'd like that. And if you're free after, maybe dinner? Somewhere with a view?" Maya paused. For a moment, the ghosts of her past whispered, "Can you trust again? Isn't it too soon?" But then another voice rose louder. "You're not who you were." She smiled softly. "Yes, I'd like that." As the event went on, Maya circulated the room, effortless, poised, thriving. Her two junior designers buzzed with excitement, showing guests before and after boards and 3D renderings. Her mother bragged to strangers about her daughter like it was her job, and Maya felt something settle in her chest. Peace. True, deep peace. No bitterness, no regret, no longing for the man she walked away from. Carter became background noise in her life, as irrelevant as static on a radio. She hadn't checked the tracker in weeks. She didn't need to. He signed the divorce papers quietly, fearful of public humiliation, fearful of losing his job, fearful of Maya's evidence. He moved out. He disappeared from her world like a bad season finally ending. Maya didn't hate him. She didn't love him. He was simply a lesson, one she survived, one she outgrew, one she transcended. Later that evening, after the last guests had left, Maya stood alone in her new office. The quiet felt sacred. She opened her desk drawer and pulled out the midnight blue velvet box, the real sapphire necklace. She held it up to the light. The gems shimmered, deep and endless like the ocean at night. This necklace had once represented betrayal. Now it symbolized something else entirely, proof of her strength. Proof she could outthink anyone who tried to break her. Proof she could rebuild from ashes and rise higher than ever before. She placed the necklace around her own neck, fastening the clasp gently. It glowed against her skin, a crown disguised as jewelry. "Looks better on me anyway," she whispered. And it did, because it wasn't just an accessory anymore. It was a reminder that nothing, not lies, not betrayal, not heartbreak, could stop a woman who chose herself. Maya turned to the mirror, her reflection fierce and whole. And if she were to speak to the audience listening to her story, she'd say, "Did you really think I'd break?" "No." I rose. "And you can too." "Did you enjoy the story? And tell me, what city are you listening from tonight? If you'd like more powerful life stories like this one, you can support the channel with a super thanks so I can keep bringing you empowering stories every week. Don't forget to subscribe, and check out the next 2 stories on your screen right now. See you in the next one, with love and respect. Black Queen's Revenge Stories.